Hey y'all, I know the playoffs are coming up, but before I do a predictions video, and I will be doing a predictions video, I want to do a video where I'm giving my opinion on the chances each team has at making the Super Bowl. And remember, my opinion, so don't get snappy when you don't like some of my answers I give. And the way I'm deciding this is through a tier list. Woo! Fun stuff. The categories that I will be using from the tier list are from top to bottom are the favorites, good chance, Pittsburgh Steelers, anything is possible, very unlikely, and nope. Y'all clear? Cool, let's get into the teams. The devil-worshipping, witchcraft-loving, Lucifer-painting Kansas City Chiefs are yet again boasting that the #1 seed in the AFC. Their team has had a lot of fluky wins, but we can't deny their team is really good, which it is. Their defense is still top tier along with the genius mind of Andy Reid, not to mention Travis Kelce, who admittedly is not the same player anymore, but still effective. And Mahomes, who is arguably having the worst season of his career, but yet they still have a bye. And are home. Also, they've gone to the championship game every year, along with selling their souls, so I'm going to put the Kansas City Chiefs in the favorites tier. The Texans have had the rockiest road of any AFC playoff team this season, plagued with inconsistencies and injury, along with C.J. Stroud's sophomore slump. Although the defense has been pretty good with Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, and Derek Stingley being the standout great players in the defense, and Azeez Al-Sharawi being a good player but can't help himself on a dirty player or two. Yeah, try that against Mahomes, buddy. You will get crucified and executed in front of the nameless druids controlling the NFL. Just warning you. At the end of the day, the Texans are a good team. However, they're a level below of some of the other AFC playoff teams this year. So for that, I'm putting the Houston Texans in the very unlikely tier. They may get one win, but are most likely getting bounced in the second round. A surprise turnaround this year, the Chargers led by their new head coach, Jim Harbaugh. Herbert has finally had an actual coach, but that's kind of where the positives end for the Chargers. You see, the Chargers are very much similar to the Texans. They're a good team, get about 10 wins, but aren't a great team, and are a step below some of the other AFC top teams. Now, could they somehow get their way to the Super Bowl off of random circumstances? Sure, any team could do that. Hell, the Bengals did it in 2021. It's extremely rare, but possible. They have a decent running game and a decent defense and a good QB, but with not a lot of weapons. With all that put together, I think the Chargers are a bit ahead of the Texans, and I'll put them in the anything is possible tier. Let's go, Buffalo! The Bills once again made it to the dance, this time with their new cast. Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper being the new lads in the wide receiver core. And Diggs is kicked out to Houston. Allen has been on fire this year, along with a solid defense and, of course, James Cook. Cooking. It makes the Bills a formidable team to go all the way. Heck, they beat the 1 seed in the entire league. They did lose to Houston and Baltimore, but they would definitely beat Houston now, and the Ravens would be a much closer game. Now, sitting at the 2 seed and having the NFL MVP Josh Allen, where do they rank? Well, I'd love to put them in the favorites tier, but the Bills, of course, have the curse of choking, and their defense has been good, but is prone to giving up a lot of yards to the air. So with this info, I'm putting the Bills in a good chance tier. Here we go again with the Steelers. 9 or 10 wins, wildcard appearance, just like old times. Their start was hot, but simmered down to a cold, heartless giraffe. Now, the defense has been inconsistent as of late, but when the defense is on, it is on! And the offense has been hot with Wilson at the start, but as of recent games, they have struggled mightily and can't get much of a flow of anything. Mike Tomlin still loves doing witchcraft. It's not as effective as the Chiefs' devil worship, but it's still effective. With all this put together, I'm putting the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Pittsburgh Steelers tier. Oh, Lamar Jackson, where do I begin? Lamar and the Ravens have been a reverse Pittsburgh Steelers this year, as in starting off bad, but then finishing strong. I prefer that occasion. Now, the Ravens have somewhat struggled on defense with air yards. They have done better as of late, but I'm not saying it's good until I see a solid playoff game with them playing good defensively through the pass. Now, as much as I'm shitting on the pass defense isn't as bad as my parasocial relationship with Lamar Jackson, but it's still concerning. The Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson combo has been damn good and is as good as advertised, with Henry having 1,800 plus rushing yards and Lamar Jackson having over 45 total touchdowns. And of course, we gotta talk about Justin Tucker. This is rough. He has had the worst season of his career by far. It's been a little better down the stretch, but a kick over 55 yards, he's more likely missing that than making it at this point. Now, my tier for the Ravens is going to be a good chance. Not quite the favorites, but a good chance. Well, they made it. Rookie QB Bo Nix has been solid, and the defense has been very good. As an overall, it's been a very successful season for the Broncos. Now, I don't want to be rash here, but the Broncos aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. I know. For one reason, rookie quarterbacks have never made it to the Super Bowl in general, and 2, they're the 7th seed. So for that, I'm putting them in the nope tier. Hey, it's still a successful season, you guys, regardless if you guys get bounced in the first round. The Eagles are truly back after breaking down like an old man last year in the playoffs, getting the #2 seed along with 13 wins. Saquon Barkley has been an absolute menace to NFL defenses this year. He's been tearing up literally every single defense this year. He's been sensational. The defense has also been better since last year, especially that secondary. Quinyon Mitchell's been good along with Mr. DeJean. However, this team has some glaring issues. For starters, Jalen Hurts is a solid quarterback, but his passing ability is a cause for concern, and he's also dealing with a concussion. And Nick Sirianni Sirianni, his situation is strange. I feel like half the team is bought in and half the team isn't. He got into a confrontation with Jalen Carter on the field, almost fought Zach Ertz, and I don't know if him and Hurts even like each other. They do have 13 wins and have a great team. However, if some of your big players and head coach aren't on the same page, that's what can break down a team in the playoffs. Although they are the number 2 seed, I'm placing the Eagles in the anything is possible tier. Man, if you told me back in week 4 the Rams would win the NFC West, I would have called it blasphemous, heresy, and even just being rash. But here we are, the Rams have won it. Matt Stafford back for the 4th year on the Rams and has definitely not looked as good as he did last year, but still decent. Puka, despite being injured, has been a great player as usual, and Kupp, unfortunately, seems to have had too many injuries and isn't the same player anymore. The Rams' defensive line is young and very good, but the secondary is very not. The Rams, outside of a Thursday win over the Vikings, which was a short week, haven't had a legit good win this year. The Rams, I see it, are just a weaker version of what they were last year. So unfortunately, I'm placing the Rams in the very unlikely tier. Alright, raise your hand if you thought the Commanders were going to make the playoffs this year. Don't lie, I didn't either. Jaden Daniels was one of the rookie QBs to break out this year. With how many of them were starting this year, one of them had to have broken out. It only made sense. Daniels has played incredible this year. Dare I say better than Stroud's rookie season last year. Terry McLaurin finally has a quarterback who can throw to him, and a veteran tight end Zach Ertz is still kicking and playing good. Dan Quinn can still coach a team. He brought in a bunch of older players in their 30s and paired them up with rookies, and my god, somehow it worked. The Commanders, however, still have a sus defense and still lack offensive firepower. Besides Scary Terry, of course. They've accomplished a lot this season and have a great future, but unfortunately, I'll have to put them in the very unlikely tier. I know I said rookies have never made it to the Super Bowl, but I feel the NFC is so wacky, it could still happen, but it is still very unlikely. Still a great season, boys. Jordan Love and crew come into the playoffs with 12 wins. You would think they won the division and are a 3 or 2 seed. No, they're a 7th seed. And you may still think, oh, they tried their best and still a top team, right?
Wrong!
Call me a hater, but the Packers went 0-4 to the Lions and Vikings combined, and only one of those games was close. Garbage time don't count, Packers fans. Jordan Love has played better on the stretch, and Josh Jacobs and the receivers have been good, but the offense still lacks explosiveness, and the defense has been good, but with Jair Alexander out for the year, which is a huge blow to that secondary, I like the Packers a lot, and I want to see them do good, but their lack of big wins concerns me, so for that, I'm placing the Green Bay Packers in the anything is possible tier. The Pirates of the Caribbean are back for round 2 with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has played even better than he did last year, and Mike Evans has been a great receiver as per usual. Chris Godwin being out does hurt, but the standout rookie Jalen McMillan has been very good. And of course, we can't talk about the Buccaneers without talking about one of the most underrated rookies this year, boasting over 1,000 rushing yards and not even being the starter until about week 10. A true hidden gem in the draft. The defense, on the other hand, has struggled despite having a good run game. The Bucs, like most teams, struggle with the pass and are prone to giving up a lot of yards. Now, with the defense struggle and being the 4th seed, the Bucs could make an unexpected run to the Super Bowl. However, Baker has been prone to make a lot of turnovers. So for that, I'm putting the Buccaneers in the anything is possible tier. The Sam Darnold revenge tour has been one of the highlights of the season, boasting over 35 passing touchdowns and over 4,300 passing yards. Sure, the system has aided him, but he's straight up making plays. And I'll be honest, looked more impressive than Kirk Cousins ever has in the Vikings. And of course, we can't forget about Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the league, and one of the best number 2s in the league, Jordan Addison, and an underrated wide receiver 3 in Jalen Naylor. They also have T.J. Hawkinson and Aaron Jones for an overall great offense. And the defense has been very good this year, especially the defensive line with Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Pat Jones. And the rookie Dallas Turner has looked decent as well. The secondary is a main weakness for this Minnesota team, but even still, it's still very good. It's a damn shame because the Vikings are a wildcard team because they lost to the Lions in week 18. They have 14 wins and are locked to the 5th seed. Getting to the Super Bowl winning 3 away games is tough. There's a reason only 4 teams have done it. I think the Vikings are good enough to do that. Would I say they're favorites? Not quite, but I'll put them in the good chance tier. The Dan Campbell revenge tour has commenced once again as the Lions are back in the playoffs. This team with an even better offense led by Jared Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs has been amazing this year, along with Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams having a breakout year. And Sam Laporta may have a slight drop off, but he's still good. And oh mama, that O-line is good. The defense has also been a very solid part of the Lions team, but unfortunately they have been hammered to the balls with injuries on the defensive side. But even still with these injuries, they're still one of the best teams in the league and have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl. So for that, I'm placing the Detroit Lions in the favorites tier. And that is the video, ladies and gentlemen. This is all my rankings for all the NFL teams going in the playoffs. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you really hate it? Or do you really like it? I don't know. That's for you to decide. But this is just my opinion. I can't wait to be really, really wrong about this in about a week. And that is all from me, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave a like and subscribe, and the playoffs are just a few days away. Goodbye now.